Hello, everyone. Welcome. We'll be starting up in a couple of minutes. Welcome, everyone. And for our panelists who are here with us, I'm going to be starting the live stream to YouTube right now. So if you see a notification, a little message, that's what's happening. It's not stranger danger, it's us. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We'll be starting up in about a minute. Tamika, can I throw it over to you to jumpstart us in? We're having some technical difficulties getting the live stream up. And I will troubleshoot that as you hold the space and welcome us in.
No worries. You want to put me on the spotlight?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
I don't like, y'all know that Jennifer Hudson song? Living under your spotlight. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. Um, Look at y'all. We got 1,800 people on here with us on this good Wednesday evening. Greetings. My name is Tamika Middleton. I am the managing director at Women's March. I use she, her pronouns. I am joining you all from Muskogee Creek Territory, Atlanta, Georgia. And I am grateful, y'all. I am so grateful to be here with everyone on this evening. Thank y'all. Shout out to all the hearts and all the reactions. Y'all are bringing big energy already, and I am grateful. Would love if you could drop in the chat where you are joining from. And really, I just started us with a song, so we're going to keep that vibe. What is your personal theme song in this moment? Drop that in the chat. Would love to hear where y'all are joining us from. What's your personal theme song right now? What's the vibes? And while you do that, I am going to tell you a little bit about what we're up to this evening, set some intention. This is a mass organizing call for those of y'all who rock in the Women's March universe. You may know that we do these twice a month, and our hope with our mass organizing calls is to help people find political homes. We recognize that we are in a moment, in a time where we have to be building a mass movement. We have to be building the biggest, strongest we possible. And part of that is to keep people engaged. The marches are great ways for people to enter, are great ways for people to find themselves in political work, right? There's nothing easier for you to do than to make a sign, show up on the, at the courthouse, at the Capitol, at the wherever you're going. But we need people to continue to be organizing in the meantime and in between time, right? And so what that means, what that looks like is for you to find your political home. Find yourself a political home. And so, people who kick it with us over at Women's March know that I am very good for a nice Stokely Carmichael reference, Kwame Ture reference. I am a child of the Black radical tradition. And Stokely Carmichael talks about the importance of us being in organizations, right? And they talks about the importance of us organizing the masses. And so that's what we're trying to be up to. And so with that, that's what we do here on these mass organizing calls. We have this one. We'll talk about the next one in a couple weeks. At later on in the call, so you can hear how to come back. We'll have another set of organizations that have really clear calls to action, really clear ways for you to plug in. And that's what we're doing. So this time we know that there is so much energy, so much momentum, so much people are just really engaged and excited because of all the motion that's been happening, and especially what people mobilized towards this past weekend. We know it's everywhere. We know it's got people riled up. Even, my kid sent me a post. She didn't even know Women's March was involved. She's like, look at this, Mom. This is Eliza from Hamilton posted a march. And so we know that, people are aware of what's happening, and we want to make sure that we're harnessing that momentum. One thing that we don't want to do is lose the energy. We know that so often we have these mobilizing moments, and then after that moment, the sort of energy dies down, and that's normal. Movement, it comes in ebbs and flows, but in those down moments, we still have to be in the work, right? And so we want to make sure that we are doing that. So, I am here to welcome y'all. I will be back a little bit later to talk to y'all. I'm grateful for people dropping in the chat. It's coming through very quickly. A couple things, a couple notes, right? The chat is now up and running, and y'all are, and as you can see, it moves very, very fast. If you have a question that you want to make sure that we see, please put it in the Q&A. Use the Q&A function, because the chat rolls and pops and it keeps going, and you will get lost in it. So we want to make sure that we answer your questions, and so we will be doing that in the Q&A, right? But make sure you use that Q&A function at the bottom. If you need captioning, use the closed caption function at the bottom, right? Also, our guidelines for how we show up in this space. We are trying to build a mass movement, which means that we will not always be entering at the same place politically, with our political understanding, with our understanding of, we all kind of have our own experiences, right? We're coming from different places in life. And so we welcome all that. We welcome questions that are brought from a space of respect and care and love, right? And we will try to hold you in that. However, what we do not hold with grace and care and love is disrespect, okay? And so we want to make sure that we are not being disrespectful to each other in the chat, that we are not being disrespectful to each other's experiences. We hold disagreement, but what we will not debate ever is anyone's lives and dignity, okay? So that's what we want to hold as we enter here. And we welcome all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. We know that the work is big. The threat is big, but we are bigger, right? The fear is real, and we are less afraid in community. So that's what we're trying to build tonight and in our ongoing work. So with that, I am going to actually be quiet and get us into the call. And I'm going to pass it over to our phenomenal panelists who are joining us from 5051, Sarah Parker and Glow. Glow, I'm going to mess up your last name, but I'm going to give it a shot. Glow Sahay?
Sahay.
Sahay, okay.
Thank you. No, thank you so much, Tamika. So I think, this moment right now is extremely critical. I've been organizing for a while. The first time Trump got elected, there was a lot of energy, and a lot of the organizations that are still organizing today kind of came out of that initial shock of like, oh my God, how could this happen? We have this person who's, basically who won a popularity contest, who's not, obviously not well-intentioned and or even, arguably well-educated in terms of like how it pertains to how everyday Americans are dealing with problems. And so now, it's happened again. And now the energy is like so different. It's so much more urgent. It's so much more dire. We have Project 2025 being passed in the States like today. My partner Sarah Parker here, like she goes to she goes to legislative council sessions with her organization to fight these bills. But stuff like actually preventing the minimum wage from being lowered, preventing businesses from being able to have tip pools, anti-gender equity bills are being passed today. And so the urgency is there. This is something we have to fight back. We have to fight back at a national level. We have to fight back right at in our homes and our local communities as well. So when we talk about like, how do we start to build that momentum, like showing up to these protests is absolutely something that we all have to do, and we have to do more. We have to look at long-term strategies. We have to look at building community. The stronger that we make our communities, the more that our communities will be able to resist and withstand some of these things that are happening. Sarah, did you want to comment and add a little bit more to that?
So, my name is Sarah Parker. I'm the executive director of Voices of Florida. Voices of Florida is a 50-51 national partner. Super excited to be here. If you don't know what 50-51 is, it stands for 50 states, 50 cities, one movement. And it is decentralized. That means there are no leaders. We happen to be national partners. That's why we're in this space right now. We're super excited to be in this space. I think that we think about moments across history, and we're being inundated by attacks. Not only are attacks coming for marginalized people this time, we're seeing them come for people that have never been marginalized. And I think that there's a moment that we have to take a step back and have some introspection about that. And not only have introspection about that, it's like, okay, now that other people that are normally not oppressed are being oppressed, it's like, how do we continue the work even after this to uplift those marginalized people that have been oppressed now that we felt it, right? How do we take the power back that we have? And the way to do that is it's in our playbook. We look at the Black Panthers, we look at the civil rights movement, we utilize our voice, we stay peaceful, and we push back. That is the only way we're going to win. And this is not a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And so another portion of this is that you have to take care of yourself in this moment. Self-care is resistance. Resistance is self-care. Joy is resistance, and be joyous. So me being on the stage after growing up the way that I grew up, very poor, and I grew up in South Carolina and Georgia mostly. I was born in New York, but I'm not allowed to say that I'm from New York. Right. So, but I'm Southern through and through, and I grew up in trailers and impoverished, and to sit on a stage in front of 100,000 people, that blew my mind. But to be able to speak and watching these people be re-energized and see the hope, we need to make sure that we're doing that, right? But even more so with 50-51, what I see as Voices of Florida, I was on the Yes on 4 campaign, which was the to get abortion access back in Florida. I was actually one of the youngest and Black executive directors that sat on that board. We built this infrastructure, and this infrastructure we're still utilizing it even after we lost, even though we got 57%. What I love about 50-51 is they're building that infrastructure. Each one of the states are building and breaking down cities to cities. But when it comes a time when they're ready to mobilize against legislation or against someone coming into town, even today we saw that in Florida, Russell Brand was attempting to come into town. Watching people mobilize so quickly and so fast against that is incredibly important. It is what we need to be doing. We need to be in coalition. We need to be taking care of our community, and we need to be rising to this moment, because this is our civil rights moment in a lot of ways. And we need to recognize that this is going to take time. So we need to watch burnout, right? It says, I heard someone tell me this at a retreat once, that 3 to 7 years movement leaders last. And then it takes about 10 years supposedly to become an expert in movement leading, right? And a lot of times we see that 10-year mark, people get burnt out at those 3 to 7 years, and they're not able to pass the baton. But we're sitting here in a space with people like Women's March and Planned Parenthood and SEIU, all of these amazing people that are literally giving us the information that we need. So as 50-51 being a new movement, we have partners to lean on. We have conversations we can have, even locally, down to the local level. So lean on each other, have conversations, right? Take care of your community. April 19th, I see a lot of people in the chat saying something about it. Just to be clear, yeah, there'll be some protests, but this is also about community action, because we need to do mutual aid. We need to get in community. We need to build coalitions so that we can have another April 5th, so that we can have this resistance keep building, so that we can learn to work in coalition. A lot of times I see it as a grassroots activist, there's a fight for turf, but we have to work together because we're fighting fascism. And that's 100%. We need to, and the left and liberals and leftists, we like to fight with each other, but we're literally fighting against Goliath. So we need to stand with each other in our similarities, not our differences. And we need to utilize our voice, and we need to hold power in that. And we need to realize we were really quiet up until January, and Women's March mobilized, and 50-51 came about and they mobilized. We were in mourning. I like to say the resistance was in mourning. Now we are fully awake, and now it's time. So keep organizing, keep being yourself. Take care of yourself, though. Take a step back when you need to. We like to say it in Voices of Florida to tap in, not out. Tap someone else in when you get tired and keep it going. We're going to continue to give them hell until they listen to us, until they end executive overreach, and we all together are going to push back against Project 2025. Thank you.
Fire, fire, fire. Thank you so much, Glow and Sarah. Next up, we're going to pull to the screen on Nicole Maldonado, who is a local organizer out in Oklahoma City, doing some incredible work, shaking things up, and who was active this weekend. Nicole, I'm going to bring you up to the screen if I can find you here. There we go.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Nicole Maldonado. I actually am originally from Colombia and I'm an immigrant. I came here to the United States in 2017. And, since then you can remember what was happening during those years, the transitioning from the first, to the first Trump administration. So I start organizing because I hate injustices. And that's how I came to Oklahoma City. And, in Oklahoma City is very interesting because it's a very red state. Oklahoma City, or in Oklahoma, we have a super majority. Our governor is a Republican. Our state legislature is full Republican. So we have only 20 Democrats in the state house. We don't have a say in here. So a lot of our people, they're hopeless in many ways. So seeing 5,000 people showing up last Saturday for Hands Off rally and having that energy because they were electric, the energy was electric on that day, that was amazing for us to see. And it's because since January we've been having rallies, we've been having organizing, community organizations, grassroots organizing. So all of these things, like Sarah was saying, is completely fundamental. And in these red states, I always try to tell people you're not alone. And through these mobilizations, through these rallies, we can see that we're not alone because it's super easy to feel isolated, to feel that, we don't belong, because that's what the legislators is telling us. They're right telling us in our faces, if you don't like it here, just get away from our state. And we're the kind of people that we're saying we refuse to leave because we belong here. This is our home. This is what they want to do with the LGBTQ community, with our women, with our immigrants. And we're working hard. We're working with different coalitions, with different organizing grassroots groups. So yeah, my best ask for you guys, if you guys live in Oklahoma City or in a red state in the Southwest region, in the South, please organize, please mobilize your community. Right now, something really cool that we're doing is this community walks. So we're going neighbor to neighbors and we're just giving resources. Which resources are available to you? We just want to hear from you. We want you to hear that you're not alone and we're fighting here alongside of you. So we are also doing any type of safe spaces that our community don't feel alone, like I said before, because just like Sarah was saying, she touched in so many great points. We need to rely on each other. We need to work with unity, with love to one another, and just it sounds cliche, but we need to kill it with kindness. We need to show them that we're the good kind. Especially right now with what is happening with our immigrants here in Oklahoma City and in Oklahoma, we're facing a huge bill, very bad piece of legislation, House Bill 4156, that is a copycat of the SB 4 in Texas, and that technically that criminalizes any undocumented person for their presence here. It's gonna increase criminalization, profiling. It's just really bad for our community. And right now we're fighting that because this bill was blocked under Biden administration, but Trump removed that blockage. So we're trying to fight that with lawsuits. But yeah, I have a couple of events that you guys can get involved. Can I put that in the chat, or how will that work better?
Yes, drop it in the chat, Nicole, and I'll bump it, and I'll also make sure everybody's on the call and who RSVP get the link afterwards.
Awesome. Yeah, let me put this in the chat. We have good things coming up. Like I said, a lot of organizations, they are uniting and they're creating these different events. So you guys can get engaged in Oklahoma.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nicole. Again, Nicole's going to drop that link in the chat for us, and I will send it as an email to everybody who has signed up. I'm going to bring back to the floor Tamika Middleton from our Women's March team. Let me make you spotlight here.
All right, I'm here.
There we go. Tamika's going to talk a little bit about some of the tangible action items that we have and how we can plug you in.
I'm sorry, I've been busy in the Q&A trying to respond to you lovely people. If you dropped a question in there, I might have already responded to you in the chat or in the Q&A box. So Women's March has a number of things for people to plug into. The way we talk about our work at Women's March is that what we are up to is trying to build a feminist force against fascism, right? We believe in building our political development, our leadership development of everyday women, bringing them into the movement, helping them land in political homes. And so there are a number of things that we have coming up that folks can get plugged into. Some of them we will have links for before you get off this call, but we might not have links as I'm speaking. I'm not sure. I'll check with Akeem to see. But the next steps, things we want y'all to join in on. One, tomorrow, I will be one of the trainers for a series of trainings that is called Rise for Freedom. It is in collaboration with a number of organizations across the country. I will be facilitating that session alongside Niall Bass from the League of Women Voters. And it will be on how you build networks. So how are you doing the sort of outreach that helps you build local networks, right? And so I hope some of y'all can join us. That is tomorrow evening. I think Akiva is going to drop the link to sign up on Mobilize. Perfect. In the chat, it is at 8 Eastern. So I hope folks can come through and join us. And that training series has a session every week, every Thursday. So if you're in it, if you're new to organizing, you've never done any of this before, this is an opportunity for you to skill up and for you to learn how to build and how to organize in your own community, how to talk to people in your own immediate network, and how to identify who are your targets, who are your oppositions in the world around you, right? Because we always think about our big target. We think about the big bad. If any of y'all are gamers, there's always like the big boss at the end, right? Your boss battle at the end, but then there's all the small battles you got to be in along the way, right? So there's a lot of battles for us to be. There's a lot of big bosses. We don't all have to aim at how can we defeat, how can we fight against the federal government, what's happening in the federal government? And also, so many of you are in local and state fights. And so these trainings will help you to be in those fights. And so that Rise for Freedom training, training is happening tomorrow. I see a number of you in the chat that are saying, hey, I, have a disability, or I am unable to get to these marches for whatever reason. I want to know what else I can do. What other things can I do in our community? And so we have put together for you lovely people a toolkit. It is called Practicing Democracy Every Day. And so we are going to share that toolkit with you. We are going to update it a bit more with more and more tactics, but it is a working document with tactics to help you learn how in your local community you can be fighting. You can be resisting. You can be building the resistance wherever you are, whatever that looks like. For Women's March, how we think about this is, we are not an organization that has chapters, right? What we are up to is helping people land in formations that already exist. And if there aren't any formations that exist near you, how can you build a formation? How can we offer you the tools to get information wherever you are? And so that toolkit will offer you some suggestions. We'll keep adding to it, keep giving you more tools, more resources, because we want you to be about that work wherever you are, and at whatever level makes the most sense to you, and in whatever capacity, in whatever fight feels relevant and motivating and energizing for you. Okay. So that's the second thing. Then we have some of you may have seen on end of March, we had right before Women's Day, we had a lovely little direct action in the Capitol, in Congress, right, in Senate building. And so there are opportunities where we might be taking escalated action. We might be inviting you to do other kinds of things. And so we want to know who amongst you want to volunteer as tribute. I've been watching Hunger Games over again. So that's my reference for right now. So if that's what you are feeling, Akeem is also going to drop another link for our civil disobedience survey. If you saw the folks who got arrested that day were in the comments like, I got arrested, and people were like, how do we sign up? This is the way to do that. The civil resistance survey is how we locate and identify folks who are interested in taking escalated actions, okay? And being a part of sort of our feminist front line, right? All right. And then I see somebody said me, yes, sign up, get into it. And then there's also our mapping movement issue survey. We would love for y'all. Akeem's gonna come on and talk about our action survey and all that jazz. And the other things I want y'all to know is there are 2 other webinars that we have coming up that we have every single month. We have one more mass call. The mass call this month will be around immigration. And so come get in, get connect, learn more about what's happening in immigration right now, get connected to immigration organizations, learn how to plug in and join or support or give whatever resources you have. And then the other thing that we have every single month, the fourth Thursday of every month is our Digital Defenders training. Digital Defenders is one of our flagship programs. It is the way that you can come in and get trained on how to combat misinformation and disinformation online. I see a lot of people are like, what's happening now that they're monitoring social media? They're putting their fingers on the scales, online. And these trainings are to help you learn how to navigate that and help your folks navigate that. Because even when we say, listen, we know that we know that's not true. We know that this is, propaganda. We know whatever. And your auntie's on Facebook and she might not know. Your grandpa on Facebook and he might not know, right? Or conversely, your teenager is on YouTube and in the comments on a wrestling video and doesn't know that the video is teaching misogyny, right? And so we want to be able to help our folks learn how to navigate and combat that misinformation and disinformation. So stay on our social media. Our Instagram will always have all the latest and greatest of events that are upcoming. So yeah, I'm going to pass it to Akeem so Akeem can talk about the mass action survey.
Thank you, Tamika. And just, super quick, I know we've been dropping a lot of links, and I'll reiterate, we'll drop all of these to you in one comprehensive email that's organized after this call. So if you can't keep up with the chat, no worries. We're partnering right now with our friends at Popular Democracy to run a national survey to understand what are the issues y'all are facing in your specific neighborhoods, towns, cities across the country. This way we can map it out, we can have some numbers to go after policy, to create strategy, and to direct the best interventions that we need to direct. So I'm going to drop a link right now in the chat, and again, I'll email it as well. I know a couple thousand of you already took the survey. If you have not, please take the 2-3 minutes. Let us know the issues that are happening in your communities. I know this is not a comprehensive list on that. The list of options you'll be able to click on, it's an entry point into conversation, and we're really grateful for your input. So I'll drop the link again, and more is to come. But on that note,
before I leave you guys, I just want to, I also saw a question about if you came in late for some of these, mass organizing calls, if you missed the mass organizing calls to the Digital Defenders training, most of them live on our YouTube channel, the Women's March YouTube channel. I know for sure, someone asked about last week's training, which was our gender and fascism training, our gender fascism mass organizing call. That absolutely is on our YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, you can watch all the videos, even if you missed the calls.
Amazing. Thank you, Tamika. I'm going to add back to the call Sarah and Glow, our friends at 5051, to talk a little bit about what's coming up in April 19th. We see lots and lots of questions there, and we'll drop some more links in the chat and on email.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Akeem. Yeah, I'm just typing some links right now so I can drop them. So we can talk about this. So April 19th, so we, everybody saw the impact of April 5th. And where our organizers have been working tirelessly since January. So April 19th is actually a day that we're going to focus on different types of actions. So it could be a protest, but it could also be a rally. It could be a food drive, community support. It could be like a vigil or a die-in, which is another type of action that our organizers are planning. So you're going to see a range of things. So don't just expect protests, but this is really where we start to hunker down and build community. So on our website, so 5050.1/events, that's where you're going to find our events map. And on there, you can actually search by your zip code or by your city, and you can actually find events that are being planned right in your city and state. So we're really excited to kind of see what comes out of this. But this is an excellent time for you to get engaged right now and get tapped into those local 5051 groups. The thing that's really special about 5051, being a new movement, being decentralized, it is a little chaotic, but it's extremely collaborative. And there's a lot of opportunity for people to learn and grow. And as we've, as Sarah mentioned, as we've all been talking about, like leaning on our partners both on the ground and nationally. Thankfully we've received a ton of support from organizations like Women's March, but also on the ground, each one of our organizers is building those relationships with local groups, with local indivisible chapters, with other local groups, where we're really starting to do that coalition building. And again, the special thing about 5051 is we have that wide banner of support of protesting executive overreach. So we are, continuing this fight, specifically around, ending Project 2025, getting Elon and Trump out of office. Like, these are immediate, urgent things that have to happen in order for us to advance and reclaim our democracy. So that's our tagline right now: remove, reverse, reclaim. And we're really excited to continue to build this movement. What comes after April 19? There's other partners on this call, but we are going to continue to build and build and build towards that next big protest day. Sarah, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's important. I know people are like, why no protest? And someone else said something really good, like, how do you 5051 national? I use national like this because there are no leaders. I can't reassert that more. Why, how do we make sure that our local and state organizers don't hit capacity? And one thing is protesting. There's a level of protesting, but if you're not giving education, like we're seeing Women's March, and you're only protesting, it's almost shallow, right? And so that's one thing that we want to do. It's we want to give education, we want a partnership, we want to be in coalition, we want to be in community, and then we want to protest. So I think it's really important to do those things. And also, as a protester, you don't get tired. You get to go out there that day, run out with those with your signs, and it's awesome and it's amazing. You feel that energy, and you want to be met with that energy. When you walk up to an organizer and they're tired, you're not going to be met with that energy, right? It's an energy exchange. So they needed a break, and they made it very clear. And it's not on us to make that decision; it's on them. But go be in community with them, and also recognize there may be and there will be probably protest. So if you look at the events map that Akeem dropped, and Glow talked about, go there, check it out, give it a few days, check back on. You'll see if there's an April 19th protest. And these amazing organizers are also in a position of getting education during that time. So we do de-escalation training, we do a little civil disobedience training, we do how to manage burnout. And those are all things that I didn't get as a beginning organizer during Occupy, or even when I was doing BLM. So as an organizer just on the ground, or an activist or individual, so we're giving those people those resources that are needed to be able to continue this fight, because like I said, it is literally a marathon, not a sprint, and we don't want to burn out. We want to keep the movement going. And if you look at Occupy, it only lasted 2 months. And we don't want that to happen. So please get involved. Please come out and work with us. Please go out and be in community April 19th. I promise you, there's a big protest day coming. I promise you. So come out and be a community, get to know those organizers, and tap in. Be like, I want to help organize a protest. I don't care if you've never organized a protest. We all have to start somewhere. Trust me, I had to be a baby organizer at one point too. When you tap into your community, you're able to start learning how to organize, and you're able to start learning how to do digital and different things that you have to do to be a protester, or an organizer. And I think that that's the thing. There's a difference between being an activist and an organizer.
Right.
And like we're trying to get that gap, right? And we want to turn these people into organizers. And Occupy was beautiful. That's how I started. It was Occupy and then here. So April 19th, go be in community, give back to your community. Mutual aid is important. We're looking at people losing their jobs right now. So like it is important that we're donating to food banks. We're looking at abortion being banned. It is important if you have Plan B to give access to these communities. So let's just remember, we have to be in community. We have to also give people the mutual aid that they need. And then we have to fight like hell and protest.
Yeah, and I think like this is a moment where like your energy right now is needed. Like we want to stress that very like a lot. And the thing with 5051 is like you can go so on our Reddit page on like this whole thing started on Reddit, which may to some of you may sound crazy, but to some of you who are online, you're like, makes sense, right? Like I actually got started on Reddit like 8 years ago. And the key thing about it is that there's actually a subreddit for every single state. So if you want to get involved in these conversations right now, go to that page, have those conversations and be like, what are we doing? How do I help? I've got a truck, I've got a table, I've got this contact, that contact. Like those are the conversations that we need to have. I know everybody has those contacts, has that energy right now. So we need to keep fighting, keep pushing. And then, as I mentioned, we have other people on the call. Like there is also going to be another day here coming up really, really soon, which is May 1st. So I feel like that's a great pivot point to kind of talk about the May Day movement and kind of what types of actions we're going to be doing with that. So yeah, I'll hand it back to you, Akib, unless Sarah, you want to add anything in closing.
Amazing. Thank you again, Glow, Sarah. Again, I'll send all of those links to everyone. And right now, I'd like to bring into the spotlight Letty, our partner and friend at SEIU, to tell us a little bit about the next big protest, the next big day of action after the 19th, which is May Day. May Day, May Day. Let's do it, Letty.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm out here on the West Coast. Hola a todos, bienvenidos. Estoy aquí en California. Just wanted to shout out to everybody and applaud every single one of you for the work that you're doing, the work that you did to show up on April 5th on the Hands Off Actions. I happened to be here in LA. It was a beautiful, joyful event, protest. It was powerful. And I just want to state that don't underestimate that immigrant workers, immigrant people are under attack, and that people showing up in the streets gives them a win in their sales to like take a step in the next day and not be as fearful. So your presence is helping communities across the country, including immigrant communities. So I'm here to talk about May Day. So May Day, we're joining SEIU and a ton of partners, labor unions. If you're part of a labor union, probably doing something on May Day or doing actions across the country. You can join, look up current events on iamerica.org, the letter I, america.org, May Day. And you can also look up events on maydaystrong.org. That particular website allows you to create events. The iamerica.org is a SEIU campaign, and it allows you to see events that are currently planned. So you can join those. There are 30 plus events on that site. On May 1st, as you all know, the reason why we have the 8-hour workday is because workers fought for that. In the 1880s, there was a strike in Chicago, and police were aggressive against the strikers. I think 3 workers were killed. And the next day, people showed up on May 4th to Haymarket. And if you know about the Haymarket riots, this is directly related to workers standing up for their rights, standing up for an 8-hour workday. So this day is really a commemoration to those workers, and people internationally have taken up that baton and celebrated workers internationally on day. We're doing that this coming May Day. So please join us, look at those websites. We're here to stand in solidarity with immigrant communities. You all see the attacks on grad student workers, on other people being abducted and in broad daylight, separated separation of families. So we want to honor that day and celebrate the invaluable contributions that immigrant workers make to our families, to our communities, and to our economy. But we also want to expose the scapegoating of immigrants and the cruel tactics designed to distract us from the issues that truly affect working people, and the fact that billionaires want to write out this economy and benefit for them. So we're calling them out straight up. And we don't want our immigrant community scapegoated to move their billionaire agenda. So please show up to any May Day, create your own May Day events, show up online, at the workplace. You can just, even read the history on May Day to your coworkers online. So please, go to these website, iAmerica, I'll repeat again, the letter I, America.org, Mayday, and then maydaystrong.org, show up. And we're using the hashtag, we make America work. And that's meant to show that immigrants make this country work. People make this country work. So please use that on that day as well. So thank you for having us. And we stand in solidarity with you all as we ramp up. And we know this is a marathon. We want to show up. We want to show up and force to stand up together for a bright future that we can all thrive, immigrants included. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Letty. I really appreciate you. Love all the work y'all are building. And again, for everyone in the chat, I dropped those links and we'll be following up an email as well. And right now I'm going to bring to the stage Claudia from our partners at Organized People in Numbers to talk a little bit about more May Day actions that are happening specifically in the Sun Belt. So Claudia, I'm going to bring you onto the floor, and the floor is yours. There we go.
Yeah, thank you. Really grateful to be with you all tonight, and it's really powerful to see how many folks have joined. So my name is Claudia Magana. I'm the campaigns director at Organized Power in Numbers. And thank you, Letty, for grounding us in the history of May Day. It's so important to kind of know why that day is so important, why we're calling folks to action on May 1st. We're a worker power organization that focuses in the South and Southwest, what we'd call the Sun Belt region, Arizona to the Carolinas. So shout out to everybody here that lives in our region. We use scalable digital and data tools paired with grassroots organizing to connect workers and community together and build coalitions in our region where we need to build stronger power and just kind of grow our density in many ways. Why does the Sun Belt matter? Why does this region matter? This is where we're seeing, like a reverse migration in essence, right? We're seeing the majority movement of folks of color, Black and brown folks with the least economic power, with the least political power, right? We have this deep history that we're seeing spread across the rest of the country of what has been unresolved in this region. We have low union density, right? Which means weaker labor laws, which also is what's inviting a lot of investment back into this country, right? We're seeing as the climate catastrophes get worse, these are often the areas that are greatly impacted and lack the resources to really protect these communities. And so there's so much work, so much organizing to do in our region. And that starts with us coming together, building strong coalitions of community, of immigrant justice groups, and of labor groups, right, together coming through. And May Day is going to be for us as organizers. We treat, I really appreciate the point that was made earlier, is that we can't just be protesting in the streets without it being connected to a greater cause. And what we see May Day as this year as somewhat of a structure test, right? We're testing kind of our ability to come together, to respond to this moment, to not resist in silence anymore, right? But to resist out loud, to build these coalitions, take the streets. And so I want to invite you all to be a part of some of the actions that we're coordinating in our region. And so I'm going to name a few of those. So folks here in Arizona, particularly Maricopa County, in Phoenix, Arizona, there's a strong labor community and immigrant rights coalition that's going to be taking the streets at the Capitol. And so I'm going to drop a link right here that's going to have allow us to get you details for all of these actions. That's what's going on in Arizona. In Albuquerque, we're also having folks, and it's been a few years actually in Albuquerque since folks have marched and taken the streets. And so we're excited to see that kind of heat picking up again, where folks are taking on and demanding of the city and the state to stand up to billionaires and put workers first. We're seeing this happen also in Raleigh, North Carolina, and in a couple places in North Carolina. So we'll be directing folks to those actions as well. So I saw some folks here were from North Carolina. Really, really encourage you all to join folks there taking the streets on May 1st. And in Houston, where we actually don't have mobilization happening yet, but where we're not in the streets, we're going to make sure that we're skill building. So we're actually going to be hosting a Know Your Rights training on how to protect our immigrant coworkers in the workplace and in our communities. And so we'll be sending information for that as well. We'll also have a link, and I believe it was mentioned earlier, for other actions that are happening across the country and in our region that maybe I didn't mention, but I'm just kind of uplifting some of the ones that we're connected to. But yeah, I mean, this is that moment where we have to test our ability, see how many folks we can turn out. And if we were not happy with that number, that means we have to go back to the drawing board and do more organizing, right? But it starts with seeing where we're at and then building from there, because we have to really show up in the next 2 years and then again in the next 4 years, right? So yeah, thank you all for having me. I'm going to drop the link again in the chat, and excited to see you all in the streets on May Day.
Thank you so much, Claudia. I'm going to invite next up Sylvia over with our friends of Planned Parenthood to talk about some threats we're facing in the reproductive healthcare abortion rights space. Sylvia, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, all. My name is Sylvia Centeno. My pronouns are she, her, and ella, and I'm the Director of Movement Partnerships at Planned Parenthood Federation and at the Action Fund. Huge thank you to everyone who's here and to Women's March for the amazing organizing that you're doing on the ground and for all of your partnership. We know that this fight has to be together in order to make the biggest impact we possibly can. First off, I want to say thank you to folks who showed up in front of the Supreme Court last week for a rally for patients' rights to mobilize against the attacks health centers and Medicaid patients are facing from truly all branches of government right now. We had about 3 people turn out as the Supreme Court heard their oral arguments in a case that's called Medina v. Planned Parenthood South Atlantic, which could effectively deny patients who use Medicaid in South Carolina the right to choose their own qualified provider, including providers like Planned Parenthood health centers. And the court's decision, expected later this summer, could also prompt other states to block people who use Medicaid insurance in our health centers. So, as you all know, the timing of our organizing tonight is dire. And as my colleague Sarah Parker mentioned, we need to work in community to get this done, especially as people are losing care. So here's my call to action. Please use this link, you'll see it in the chat, to tell Congress that you support Planned Parenthood and other affected health centers in light of the attacks by the Trump administration and Elon Musk. In their crusade to defund Planned Parenthood, they are putting patients at risk by withholding Title X funds from some health centers, which millions of people rely on for essential care. This includes cancer screenings, STI testing, treatment, birth control. This also, as I'm sure you all have seen, affects especially women, people of color, LGBTQ plus people, immigrants, as my colleagues have mentioned, and people with low incomes. My second ask to you, in addition to signing that petition, is that we have set up a text and dial campaign urging Capitol Hill to also act. So to engage in this, please text dial to 22422 to call your member of Congress and tell them that you support Planned Parenthood and share what Planned Parenthood means to you. You will also see that in the chat. Thank you so, so much. I really do believe that we can do this together. And Tamika, I think I will pass it back to you, or Akib.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thanks for all of the work y'all are doing. And we are here with Planned Parenthood, and we will do all the things that we can do to stand behind Planned Parenthood. Tamika, I'm going to pull you back onto the screen and spotlight you. There we go.
So, hey, everybody. Y'all got a lot of information tonight from a lot of powerful speakers. And it's because there's a lot happening and a lot of ways for you to get involved, right? I think the main thing we want you to take away is that there are so many opportunities for you to keep in the fight. be it going out to protest, be it hosting your own actions, be it plugging in to different kinds of fights that are happening where you are, finding some toolkits or trainings or something to get involved in, organizing with your own folks, building your own formations, to book clubs, whatever y'all want to be up to, right? The key, like we love to say over here at Women's March, get in where you fit in. Whatever that is, find your way to be engaged and be involved in the movement. Because y'all, I know you see it. I know you're feeling it in your communities. We have a fight ahead, right? Fascism is amongst us, good people. And one of the key things that they talk about if anyone has read On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder, if you haven't read it, cop it. It's very small. It takes no time to read. Very easy. If you got a Spotify account, listen to the audiobook, get into it, whatever you want to do. But one of the first things he talks about is not obeying in advance, right? We don't want to be silent because we don't want to obey the fascists in advance. And they also talk about corporeal politics, putting our bodies in the fight, right? Being in space with each other, being out of our normal spaces, being in the streets, being where they can feel it. And I know that often it feels like what we are doing is not making an impact. I know. And we have to be prepared for protracted struggle, right? That this is not an overnight battle. We will not win tomorrow. We will not transform our conditions and transform the society tomorrow. We want to make impact and recognize every single win, no matter how big, no matter how small. So if you live in a rural community and 10 people who had never protested before in their lives come out and hold signs on the side of the road, that is a win, good people, okay? If you have a legislator who has never responded to any single person on the planet and ignores everybody's emails, and you have put enough pressure on them, you popped up at their church, and now they have to respond to the things that you say, that is a win, good people. And so we are counting our wins, right? We are not just counting our battles. We are counting our wins. We are building community for the long haul. We are building our power over time so that we can contest for power and we can transform the relations of power over time. That is what we are up to, right? So yes, the protests matter. Yes, the civil disobedience matters. Yes, the mutual aid matters. Yes, the phone calls matter. Every single thing we do when taken together matters, okay? So with all that said, I want to encourage you all to stay in it, to bring your people along. For the folks who say, I've seen a number of people in the Q&A in the comments say, listen, I have folks that they are overwhelmed. They don't want to be involved. Or I have folks, I don't know how to get involved. It doesn't matter what you do, my friends. You know, I tell folks when I used to organize Black domestic workers here in Georgia, nannies, house cleaners, folks who had never organized a day in their lives, right? But they knew that their conditions were unsatisfactory, right? They were in Georgia, the minimum wage is $5.15, okay? And so organizing Black domestic workers here. And we tell folks, listen, what is your contribution? Whatever it is, we'll take it. If you make the meals for the meetings, good friends, we will take it. If you offer childcare for the meetings, good friends, we will take it. So whatever it is that is your contribution, we want you to bring it, okay? Get in wherever it is that you fit in. Yeah, I got a new computer and the camera keeps changing and I'm like, I'm moving my head, don't move with me, what's happening? It's too fancy for me, right? But yeah, all that to say, we want y'all to get in with us, okay? Come to the trainings. If you're not ready to take a rest, that's okay. If you crochet, yarn bombing, craftivism is a very real thing, right? You know, going all the way back to the Underground Railroad, right? Our folks making quilts, a big part of our civil resistance, okay? So whatever it is, at whatever level, every action matters. Every bit of resistance matters. And so come be in the fight with us, all right? Y'all will get a follow-up email with all the links. I know we might not have gotten to your question. There was like 400 questions in this chat, in the Q&A. We tried. We did our very best. Me and Shauna was in there typing away. Hopefully you got your question answered. If you have additional questions about how to get involved, you can always send us an email at organizing@womensmarch.com. Akib will make sure everybody who registered for this call gets a follow-up email with all of those links. So do not stress. If you want to watch this again, you want your homies who couldn't make it to watch it, it will be on our YouTube channel. All right. Thank y'all so much. This might be the first time we get out of these calls early. Look at God. Okay, we're gonna get out. We're gonna leave y'all 4 minutes early. Thank y'all again, and we will see y'all in the streets. Night, y'all.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.